Welcome back to Insurance Talk Texas. So picture this. You've built a small business here in North Texas, maybe a boutique in Frisco or a coffee shop in McKinney. Things are finally clicking. And then one bad afternoon, a customer slips on a wet floor or a spring hailstorm chews up your roof. The question is, are you actually protected, or do you just think you are?
Oh, that's the question, isn't it? And here's what gets me. So many Texas small business owners believe they're covered when they've either got nothing or one piece of the puzzle they assume does everything. Today, we're breaking down the policy that's the foundation for most small businesses in the state, the Business Owner's Policy, or as everyone in the industry calls it, the BOP.
And the BOP is beautiful in its simplicity. It bundles two coverages almost every business needs into a single package: general liability on one side, commercial property on the other, usually with business income protection rolled in too. One policy, one renewal, and typically less than buying those pieces separately.
Right, and that's the part people miss. Buying general liability and commercial property as two separate policies almost always costs more than bundling them in a BOP. The carriers reward you for packaging it, so you get broader protection and usually pay less. That's why the experts over at Schell Insurance so often point small business clients toward a BOP as the starting point.
Let's break down those two halves because they protect against completely different things. Start with general liability. What's that actually covering?
So general liability is your third-party protection, somebody who isn't you and isn't your employee. A customer slips in your shop and breaks a wrist, that's a bodily injury claim. You damage a client's property on a job, that's covered. And here's one people forget: personal and advertising injury, things like libel, slander, even a copyright claim over your marketing. Without it, all of that comes straight out of your operating account.
And the legal defense alone can sink a small business before you even get to a settlement. That's exactly why this coverage matters so much. Now, the standard general liability limits in a BOP, those usually run $1 million per occurrence and $2 million aggregate, right?
That's the typical setup, and for a lot of small businesses, that's plenty. But here's where talking to a real agent matters. If you're a high-foot traffic business in Dallas, you might want higher limits, and you may even layer an umbrella policy on top. The team at Schell Insurance walks you through what your specific exposure looks like instead of handing you a one-size-fits-all number.
Okay, that's the liability half. Let's flip to commercial property, because this is where Texas gets really interesting and honestly a little scary.
It really does. Commercial property covers your physical stuff, the building if you own it, your equipment, inventory, furniture, signage, all of it. Covered perils include fire, theft, vandalism, and the big one for us, windstorm and hail. And Texans, listen to this. Texas led the entire country with 878 hail events in a single year. Hail is the #1 cause of commercial property claims in the state by volume.
878. That's staggering. And this is where I really want people to pay attention, because the way your property coverage handles wind and hail can be a nasty surprise at claim time.
This is so important, and it's the thing I wish every business owner understood before storm season. A lot of Texas commercial policies have a separate wind and hail deductible, often calculated as a percentage of your property value, not a flat amount. So a storm hits, you file, and suddenly you're absorbing a much bigger chunk than you expected. On top of that, a lot of North Texas carriers now use actual cash value settlements on roofs, meaning they subtract depreciation instead of paying full replacement cost.
So your 15-year-old roof gets paid out like a 15-year-old roof, not a brand new one. That's the kind of detail you don't want to discover after the hail comes. This is exactly why having a knowledgeable Texas agent read your policy matters. You can call Schell Insurance at 972-423-4546 and have someone explain your deductible structure before the next storm rolls through.
And that one phone call can save you a world of pain. Now let's talk about the third piece that often rides along in a BOP, business income coverage, sometimes called business interruption. If a covered event like a fire forces you to shut your doors for a few weeks, this replaces your lost income and keeps paying rent and payroll while you recover.
Which can be the difference between reopening and closing for good. But here's the flip side. A BOP is powerful, but it isn't everything. What does it not cover?
Great question, and this is where business owners get burned. A BOP doesn't cover your vehicles. That's commercial auto. It doesn't cover your employees getting hurt on the job. That's workers' compensation. It doesn't cover a data breach. That's cyber liability. And it doesn't cover professional mistakes. That's errors and omissions. Those are all separate, and a good agent helps you build them around your BOP.
And the two giant exclusions everybody needs to hear: flood and earthquake. Flood is never part of a standard BOP. If rising water gets into your shop, you need a separate flood policy. So many Texas owners assume hail and flood are the same bucket, and they're absolutely not.
They really aren't, and that assumption has wrecked people. This is exactly the kind of gap the folks at Schell Insurance are built to catch. They look at your whole operation and make sure the pieces fit together, instead of leaving you with holes you don't find out about until claim day.
So if you're a Texas small business owner and you don't really know what's in your policy, this is your sign. Reach out to Schell Insurance. You can find them online at schellinsurance.com. That's SCHELL insurance.com. Or pick up the phone and call 972-423-4546.
The Schell Insurance team serves small businesses all across Frisco, McKinney, Plano, Prosper, Allen, and the greater Collin and Denton County area, and they'll help you figure out whether a BOP is the right foundation for you. One more time, that's schellinsurance.com, SCHELL insurance.com, or call 972-423-4546.
Don't wait for the slip, the fire, or the hailstorm to find out what you've got. That's going to do it for this episode of Insurance Talk Texas. Until next time, take care of your business, Texas.